Good morning, everybody. Today we are starting solving linear systems, this time by substitution instead of graphing. So the first thing is, it says solve for x. 2x plus y equals 5. That is when y equals negative 9. So we're trying to find x when y equals negative 9. So we're going to take this negative 9 because it says when y equals, so I can just replace or substitute the y with a negative 9. So what we're going to have then is 2x plus a negative 9 equals 5. Now we just got to solve this like we would any other equation. We're going to add 9 to both sides, and we get 2x equals 5 plus 9, which is 14, divided by 2, and x equals 7. There we go. We just solved for x. X equals 7. Next problem says solve for y, but this time x equals this whole thing, y plus 4. So we're solving for y now. We're trying to get y by itself. And we need to put this whole thing, y plus 4, in for x. So we're going to have 2 times y plus 4 plus 3y equals 14. Now the first thing we got to do is distribute this 2. So 2 times y gives us 2y. 2 times 4 gives us 8. We still have the 3y equals 14. Now what I see on this side is that I have 2 y's. So we're going to take those 2 y's and we're going to combine them. So 2y plus 3y gives us 5y plus 8 equals 14. Subtract 8. We get 5y equals 14 minus 8, which gives us 6. Oh, not 16, 6. And then finally divide by 5 to get y by itself. And we get y equals 6 over 5, or 1.2. So these are our solutions for y. Next problem says solve the linear system. Well, our equation 1 has y equals 3x plus 2, and our equation 2 has x plus 2y equals 11. We are looking for a variable that is all by itself, and I see this variable, y, all by itself. This is telling us already that y equals 3x plus 2. So what we can do is take 3x plus 2 and sub it in for y. So our first problem then was going to be x plus 2. Instead of y, it's 3x plus 2 equals 11. So we have x plus 2 times 3x gives us 6x plus 2 equals 11. 2 x's can be combined to 7x plus 2 equals 11. So we get 7x equals 11 minus 2, which is 9. I now realize I made a mistake when I distributed the 2. That should actually be 4. So this should actually be plus 4. Then we subtract the 4 instead of a 2, which makes this problem a lot easier to do. 11 minus 4 gives us 7. And now we divide by 7 to get x equals 1. Now, we know what x is. Now, this isn't the solution to the linear system. Remember, a solution always has to have an x and a y ordered pair. We know what x is. We know that x equals 1. We don't know what y equals yet. So what we got to do is take that x equals 1 and put it into our equation. This one already has y by itself, so I would put this 1 into this equation, equation 1. So let's say this is equation 1. We have y equals 3 times 1 plus 2. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2, that equals 5. So y equals 5. Our ordered pair then is 1, 5. And that is the solution to our system. Here we're looking for a number that's by itself. I see x is by itself. X equals 6 minus 4y. So I'm going to take this 6 minus 4y and plug it in for x. So we have 2 times 6 minus 4y minus 3y equals 1. 2 times 6 gives us 12. 2 times negative 4 gives us negative 8y minus 3y equals 1. Remember, this is equation 2. Or sorry, equation 1. Now we can combine our y's. Negative 8 minus 3 gives us a negative 11y. So 12 minus 11y equals 1. Subtract 12. And we get negative 11y equals a negative 11. Divide by negative 11. And we get y equals 1. So if y equals 1, we know we can put this in for any y that we have. We could put it in for the y on the top for equation 1, but since this one's already solved for x, we could just put it in for this y. So we get x equals 6 minus 4 times 1. 4 times 1 is 4. 6 minus 4 gives us 2. So our x is 2. Our solution is 2, 1. Now, this problem doesn't have a variable by itself. The closest that by itself is this x. This x doesn't have anything in front of it. So what we need to do is we need to solve for a variable. Now the easiest is going to be to solve for this x because there's nothing in front of it. We don't have to divide by anything. So I'm going to write this one as equation 1. And I'm going to try to get x by itself. So we have x minus 2y equals negative 6. I'm going to move over the 2y to by adding that. And we get x equals 2y minus 6. Now since we have this variable by itself, we know that this 2y minus 6 is going to equal our x, and we can plug that in to equation 2. So equation 2 has 4 times 2y minus 6 plus 6y equals 4. 4 times 2y gives us 8y. 4 times negative 6 gives us negative 24. Plus 6y equals 4. Combining these two, we get 8 plus 6. That gives us 14y minus 24 equals 4. Add 24 to get 14y by itself. So now we have 14y equals 4 plus 24, which is 28. Divide by 14. Now y equals 2. So we know our y, and our y equals 2. We need to find our x. Now again, we can just plug it back into this first equation. So y equals 2, then x equals 2 times 2 minus 6. 2 times 2 is 4, minus 6. That gives us a negative 2. So negative 2 is our x. So our ordered pair is negative 2, 2. Alright, last problem. We're looking for a variable that's by itself. We don't have any, but y is the closest because it's sitting there with nothing attached to it. So if we take our equation 2, we are going to solve for y. So we get 3x plus y equals negative 7. We're going to subtract 3x to both sides. So now we have y equals negative 3x minus 7. Now we know what y equals. Y equals negative 3x minus 7. So we can plug this back into our first equation. For y, so we have negative 2. This is equation 1. Negative 2x plus 4 times negative 3x minus 7 equals 0. So negative 2x plus 4 times negative 3, which is negative 12x, and 4 times negative 7 is negative 28, equals 0. Combine the two x's and we get a negative 14x minus 28 equals 0. We add 28 to 0. We get negative 14x equals 28. Last step to get x by itself. Divide by negative 14. And our x equals negative 2. So now we can take this negative 2 and plug it right back into our original equation. So if x equals negative 2, I'm going to plug that negative 2 right back in there to find y, and y equals negative 3x. Oh, instead of x, though, we can put negative 2 minus 7. Negative 3 times negative 2 gives us a positive 6. 6 minus 7 gives us a negative 1. So y equals negative 1. which means our solution has to be -2, -1. Alright, that is all for today. Make sure you are doing your homework still for the week, which is IXL U1 and U2.